Welcome to Wealth Unleashed webinar, our weekend dose on your journey to financial freedom. As you all know, this program goes live 7 p.m. West African time every Friday, and of course, 1 p.m. CST, 2 p.m. EST. So it's good to have you all join me, and I want to quickly get right into our subject for the day. As you all know also, the structure for this particular lecture has been on being, doing, achieving, right? And we've established that in order for you to achieve financial freedom, there are three critical phases you must master. One is personal transformation, which refers to your being, who you become, right? We don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. Number two is income generation, planning and application, and we've dwelt extensively, and we still are on that particular phase in the course of this series. And of course, the third phase, which we will get into later on, much later in the year, will be asset accumulation, right? Optimization and retention. And I'm going to be giving us a lot of strategies. And so that's where the achieving really is, as far as it relates to achieving financial freedom. So we've touched on quite a bit, and we've looked at strategies to making money in real estate, particularly in Nigeria, and it has been an exciting one. So I want to encourage you, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you want to go back there, and subscribe at Oladipupo Clem. Also feel free to share this video, share this link, share this channel, and share with everyone that within your network. They will tremendously be blessed by some of the things that we have on the platform. All right, so without further ado, let me get right into the other aspect of that I consider a way to make money from real estate. All right, so a lot of times people ask me they want to play in the real estate space, and I often like to share there are four principal ways, right, to play in the real estate space and make a lot of money. Okay, number one is by being a regulator. And by being a regulator, you are essentially providing some degree of policy, and where you collaborate with government agencies to provide regulation and order in an industry or in the industry. Okay, and there's a lot of money to be made there. So if you have political will and you have political network and all of that, that will work a great deal. So if you have expertise in policy frameworks, you have expertise in writing, about industry, about evolution of industries and all of that, and ecosystems and all of that, especially as it relates to real estate in Nigeria, then you will have a lot to make in this area. Of course, being a legal person also gives you that edge and that advantage. Other than that, also you could set up an association, where you provide consistent and constant and periodic education to an association. So you have organizations like REDAN, Real Estate Developers Association of Nigeria. You have NAHIV. You have different other sector. These are all regulators in a way, right? Collaborating with government. Sometimes they serve as pressure groups. Some other times they serve as regulators in collaboration with government. So depending on how you want to play. Number two is by being a developer. And this is by far the most glamorous way to play in the real estate space. And a lot of people would love, to play as developers, because everybody wants to be a developer. But you see, it's important to understand that you require deep pockets to play as a developer, right? You require deep pockets, and the days when you can throw something out there, but there's a smarter way of even playing as a developer, which I'm going to get to much later. Number three is by being an investor, and all of us have to be an investor. The beautiful thing about being a developer or going to a real estate business is that there's no way you will go into real estate business that you won't end up investing, right? But it's possible for you to be an investor and not necessarily be in the business. Okay, so it's important to distinguish between the two. So decide from the word go what you really would want to play as, right? Everybody mustn't be a developer, but everybody clearly have to be an investor. Okay, everybody can't even be a developer. Everybody can't play in the real estate business space, but everybody must be an investor, regardless of whatever you decide, whatever path you decide to follow. So that's very, very critical. Number 4, which in my opinion is the basis of this lecture, right? And it is the cheapest and the fastest way to play in the real estate space. And if by any means you intend to go into becoming a real estate developer, then this is also a smart way to, journey into that, into real estate development. All right, so that's very, very important. Now, so let me quickly run you through a few ideas that I believe would be of tremendous value to you. Let me quickly touch on them shortly. So if you want to play as a real estate developer, so the fourth way to play as a real estate in the real estate space is by being a realtor, by being a real estate consultant, agent, whatever name or nomenclature, it is called, marketer, seller, whatever. The reason this is so important is because, and that's why I want to quickly get into the subject and the benefits of being a realtor, and I'm going to touch them one after the other. So 7 benefits of being a realtor, or running a brokerage firm, running a brokerage firm or being a realtor. So either of those 2 things, gives you a lot of advantages. And I'm very certain that it's going to be of great value to you. Number 1 is little or no overhead cost compared to being a developer. Now listen to me carefully. I said it earlier. Apart from the fact that you require a huge capital outlay to engage or to start a project, right? Especially if you're just starting out, right? You also need a lot of running costs, right? There are many moving parts in that business, especially if you want to be not just a private developer, because there are people who are private developers, they are the company, right? But when you are building a company, a development company, then there are many moving parts, right? There are many moving parts. Time won't permit me to begin to go into all those moving parts, but and that comes at a cost. All right, running cost now of a business is huge. But you see, when you start out as a realtor, you have little or no overhead cost compared to that of a developer. So note the key word there, in comparison to that of a developer. Number 2, there is no huge capital outlay required. No huge capital outlay required. And a lot of times people don't realize that this is a huge benefit. It's one of the things that you find out amongst our Eastern Brothers business model, right? You'll go to a typical Ladipo market in Lagos or Alaba market, and then you ask for a particular item and they say they have it, it is in their second store, right? Most times the owner of that store, right, does not own all the goods he even has in that store. And then should you ask for anything he doesn't have there, he has other people who have it. And that's how they remain in business. So they leverage each other's goods, right? I don't need to acquire the goods to be able to sell it. And that is one key thing. So you don't require major capital outlay to have billions worth of goods, worth of properties, to sell. You see, I've said it time and again, the owner of the market is always superior than the owner of the factory. So even if you intend to set up a factory at the end of the day, why not start by owning the market? And that's what being this will do for you. So, and you don't require capital outlay, huge capital outlay to get that done. So you can be selling a project that is worth 10 billion, 30 billion, 50 billion, right? And yet you have no kobo contributed to it, no investment, other than the fact that you are just simply connecting buyer to seller. And that's how you own the market. Okay, so no huge capital outlay is required. Number 3, now why am I presenting this? Why is this so important in your investment journey? Why? Because sometimes you may start out having little or no money, and people still want to invest in the real estate space. So I often tell people, if you don't have the means to acquire real estate as a means of creating wealth, then why not sell it, right? And use your professional fees, which by extension we call it commissions or whatever, right? Use it to acquire your own portions. Most of the big estate surveyors and valuers that we know, the Jide Taiwo and Co, the Fatimehi, I can't remember the name of that company now, but these guys have built a big name, all right? It was only on one particular function I ran into Wood the Jide Taiwo, the other very popular, and there are several other popular platforms that we know, but most of these guys have been able to build a massive portfolio of assets for themselves, all right, leveraging on other people's assets and using their own professional fees to acquire them. And so if you want to really acquire assets, then why not sell it? Use your commissions to acquire yours, right? You don't have the means, or you don't have enough, right, to cater for that. Why don't you leverage your network to service your own acquisition, right? And that's pretty much the way this thing goes. So you don't really require a huge capital outlay to get started. Number 3, you also have an opportunity to convert your network to your net worth. So this is a common term, and people say turn your network to your net worth. The truth is that if you lack money and you lack people, you are truly poor. If you lack money and you lack network, you are truly broke, right? In fact, if you don't have money but you have people, money can still flow to you, right? So this is very, very, very important. I stumbled on a video, a documentary of a gentleman who was being interviewed of how he started an automobile, assembling plant in Nigeria. Young chap, right? Under 40, under 35. And the guy was talking about how that while he was working in another automobile company, he observed how things were done, and he was making a couple of recommendations on what they could do to penetrate and take over the market. And he was also talking to a few of their dealers. And many of them said, okay, if this thing was this good, why don't you take it up? And that was how the guy jumped into it. The point I'm trying to make in a nutshell was that all the network he built while he was working in that organization was what was responsible and still responsible for the growth of his new venture. So you want to prioritize network, and this is one thing that this does for you. And many of us even have network, but we're not even, monetizing it. There's cash inherent within every relationship and network you have. What exactly is sales? In the real sense of the word, it's converting relationship to cash, right? There are many of us who have made a lot of investment in our relationships, in our network, but we find it hard to place demand. Of course, you want to offer value. Don't get it twisted, all right? You want to really, really offer value, but that's pretty much what opportunity to convert your network to net worth really is all about. Okay. Number 4 benefit you get as a realtor or as a brokerage firm. Brokerage firm means that you now have a team of people that are growing along with you. Okay, but if you be a realtor, you are just a lone ranger. But if you be a brokerage firm, then you are already thinking like a company. You are thinking you possess a business mindset. Number 4 is large inventory without large capital, and I think I already mentioned that. So without capital, you have large inventory without capital. So you have this product, that product. You have a lot of products, myriad of products to market, to promote, without, heavy duty capital outlay. Number 5 is opportunity to start big from day one without incurring cost of a big time project or big time business. Opportunity, so you have an opportunity to start big from day one. So sometimes people tell me, because I'm also a business coach, and I often give him not just even my experience alone, but my experience also makes it very, very clear that you don't need money to start a business. You need an idea, right? And this is one of the most powerful ideas. If you ever envision that one day you want to start a development company, my dear, this is one of the smartest way to start pushing out other people's products, right? And it already establishes you as an authority in the market. Now, this whole idea that I don't want anything that will stay my name and all of those things, then who will now market your own? Okay? And then verify, do your due diligence. Be sure that, okay, they have what they claim they have. Be sure that you know where the sites are. Be sure that the documents and the titles they claim they have also are clear. All right? But you have the opportunity to start big from day one. And if you intend to own everything to start big on day one, you will run into trouble. Back to that particular video, the documentary I saw, the guy said that he arrogantly believed that he had enough to start the business and sustain it on his own without investors, without partners, without people collaborating with him. It was when he ran out of resources 6 months after that he realized that, man, he was running a risk. Okay, so these are key things you want to pay serious attention to. And number 6, opportunity to establish yourself as an authority or brand. So what will people know you for? Let me be honest with you. You will still require time and consistency to build a name. It takes consistency, it takes time to build a name, to build a brand that people will want to associate with. Why don't you use the first 1 year, first 2 years or so or more, right, to build a brand? And nothing says that you can't even continue as a real estate brokerage firm, right? Except that is ultimately your vision. Because you know why being a realtor is really not out of place? Because ultimately, when you even start your own development company, you still need to sell your product. You get it? So it's important that we take note of these vital facts, all right? So it's an opportunity, it provides you the opportunity to establish yourself as an authority in that industry. So you have opportunity to garner a lot of experience, garner a lot of information, garner a lot of network as well. And then you also know the route to market. And it goes a long way, so that by the time you eventually start your development, if that is your ultimate objective, it will be an easy ride. And finally, number 7, it gives you the opportunity to convert your professional fees into portfolio of assets. I also mentioned that in passing earlier on. All right, so whatever it is you are making, then you can now turn that money or that professional fee into investment resource. Okay, and then you acquire your own property, because ultimately you don't want to be a signpost showing people the road and the way to the wealthy place and not journeying yourself. So I believe that this has been of tremendous value. I just want to make this as brief as possible. I hope you drew value. Please feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Feel free also to click on the notification button, so that each time we also post content, you'll be the first to get notified. All right, so thank you very much, everyone, and I see you in the next one. Bye for now.